Over 2 years ago, I launched my YouTube channel with a video called the Phantom Menace Shelf Series, and although I showcase my full permanent collection often on this channel, I wanted to show an idealized version of my display in which I had an unlimited amount of space to dedicate to each Star Wars film or TV show. And so this is how the Shelf Series was born, but my Phantom Menace display is quite dated now. It's been 2 years and it has grown tremendously. We're going to start as always with my trusty hexagon stands that I designed and 3D printed. We're going to start with probably my favorite custom that I've ever bought from anyone. This is from Nuno. This is of course Queen Amidala, the iconic red gown. Probably one of the most impressive paint jobs and sculpts I've ever seen from a customizer. I was so excited to finally get this and have this look displayed on my shelf. I have no choice but to put her right here in the middle. This is going to be like our visual centerpiece, and then we're just going to sort of expand outwards from this. I showcased a custom little Annie in my first Shelf Series video, and now I'm so excited that we have an official Black Series release that is actually posable. And the same artist that did that Queen Amidala is working on a custom head sculpt for Anakin, so I'm looking forward to getting that. So this next figure has kind of an ugly rig going on here, but all of that is hidden. This is a custom hexagon stand that I made just specifically for this display that I wanted to do. This is of course Darth Maul. This is actually the brand new Black Series body with the old head and hood combo. I love the way that that sits with a matte spray on it and the SH Figuarts probe droid. Total kit bash here to kind of get my ultimate Phantom Menace Maul. I do love the hooded look, and I was kind of going for this Tatooine themed display, and so I just wanted to showcase this specific one. You guys know how I feel about soft goods. And with how prominently Darth Maul was showcased in all of the promos for the Phantom Menace, I feel like he's probably like one of the most iconic looking characters, which is why he's going right here in the middle as well. When I saw this Watto 3D model from Black Remnant, I knew I had to scale it up to 1/12 scale and get my friend Tim from Tim's Toys to paint it. I wish we were in a little bit of a flight pose since we never really see him walking around, but for now this will have to do. With Sebulba coming to the line, I think that we may have a good shot of getting Watto after all in the Black Series. And then we have the SH Figuarts Yoda, which is just my favorite prequel Yoda. He comes with his chair, just like the new Black Series one does, but I think the colors on this are a little bit better. And with how much visual attention Queen Amidala commands here, I want to put some smaller figures around here. I think that makes for a nice composition. I was so excited to see this episode 1 C-3PO made available by MS1 on Instagram. I will have everyone linked in the description below, but I have wanted a Black Series scale version of this look for C-3PO ever since I started collecting, and so I'm so excited to have him right up here in the front. And I definitely want to get one of the pit droids up here next to 3PO and Watto. We might move him around later, but I think for now we're going to just have him kind of leaning on Watto since they're so hard to stand up. I recently covered the SH Figuarts Jar Jar, which I think is a really brilliant figure. The only thing I don't like is those elbow joints, but other than that it's amazing, and all the different variety you can do with the different facial expressions and poses is great. Since this particular look is from Tatooine specifically, I'm going to put him over here by Anakin and the other Tatooine gang. Since I was a Phantom Menace kid, I had the Tatooine Padme figure, and I really wanted to have her in 1/12 scale in this particular look, and that's where Tim's Toys came in, getting this delivered to me just in time for Christmas. He did some amazing sculpting on the hair there, and I'm excited to have her on the shelf. When I launched my Patreon, I really wanted to showcase some more obscure characters that the Black Series might never get to, and often we have to do these in statue form just because of the limitations of resin printing, but that's where this amazing Boss Nass from the Glowing Ghost came in, painted here by Frederick's Figures. This specific pose is meant so he can actually hold the staff that comes with the original Phantom Menace release. We never actually see him with it in the movie, so that's why his arm is up like that, but he comes in several different positions. But as cool as he is going here all the way on the right side. He's not the most significant character, and because of his size and vibrancy of color, he still commands attention even in his little corner. I gotta be honest, I did not think the Black Series would ever do Sebulba, which is why I 3D printed and painted the Sebulba model myself. I've had this for a few years, so I have no regrets about doing it. I am looking forward to replacing him with an articulated Black Series version in the near future. And let's just put some junk around him here. I worked with the Glowing Ghost to create this sculpt for Ben Quaternaros that is on my Patreon. He did this amazing thing with these alternate faceplates where you can have several different expressions and different arms. Since again, resin isn't super posable, this allows for a lot of variety here depending on which version of Ben you would like to display on your shelf. And I'm going with the classic smiling and wave since we actually see him do that in the Phantom Menace. I want to keep this as accurate to the film as possible. I love my battle droids, and I finally got up enough confidence to repaint some of the original battle droids with the pilot, security, and yellow commander versions. This is the first one that I will show you today. I don't have a great spot for him, so I'm just going to put him on the end here, and we'll have other battle droids on the other side just to kind of anchor this whole display. And even though I already have 2 other Padmes on this shelf, I feel like I just needed to showcase this new one from the Black Series. It's just too cool of a look, and the most action-oriented look for her in the whole film. I kind of hide the fact that the hand is a little bit too large by pointing it directly at the viewer's eye when it's on my shelf. You can see here how you kind of lose the sense that the scale is a little off. I am going to have her on the left side here. I'm not putting her on a hex stand because I feel like they're a little bit distracting when they're on the ground level, and even though she's pretty close to another version of herself, I think it's okay. R2-D2 is in every Star Wars film, and we are going to put him towards the front here because he is a shorter character. I weathered this up a little bit using a few different color paints to kind of make him look how he does on Tatooine. I don't know why Hasbro has not released more battle droid variants. These seem so easy to do, and I just feel like everyone kind of wants these from what I've heard just in the community. I love this pink security droid, and I had to make one myself. He's going to go over here all the way on the left side, kind of anchoring that other half of the display. And next, I'm actually revealing a figure for the first time in this video. This is my custom Darth Sidious. I did paint this one myself. It was fairly easy, just everything's black except the face, and there's no eyes on display, so you don't have to be too particular if you're not good at painting eyes. But having the old figure from Phantom Menace when I was a kid, just something about this particular look, it just felt missing not being next to Darth Maul on the shelf, which is exactly where he is going to go. Doesn't that look great? Personally, I love the idea of sculpted Jedi robes, which is why I made this piece for Mace Windu here. Ki-Adi-Mundi is just straight out of the package, one of the rare examples of that on my shelf. And then this Mace Windu, we did these robes. They are resin printed, and you do have to paint the arms of your original Jedi figure, so it is kind of a permanent fix here, but I wish Hasbro would release a version like this with the darker arms and a cloak that is more flexible. They do it with figures like Luthen Rael or the Client that have these long cloaks, and they could re-release a lot of the Jedi with the cloaks and new sculpted arms that have a little bit of a droopier fabric to them. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you would buy. And also, this head on Mace Windu is repainted by Uncle Sam's Cantina. Next comes one of the best figures of 2024, which is the Droideka. This is slightly repainted. I did a little bit of a wash on some of the metal and some dry brushing just to kind of pop a lot of those colors. It's very subtle, you almost can't really see it on the video here. And then we also have Darth Maul on his Sith Speeder from SH Figuarts. I like this one a lot more than the Black Series one. I think the colors are a lot more screen accurate, and it's just a much cleaner sculpt and paint job overall. Now, the issue with larger figures like this is fitting them onto the hexagon stands. So I created an inverted version of the riser that creates a flat surface to support larger figures, or if you want to have like 2 characters dueling, or just anything where you need a little bit more floor space, you can go ahead and use these. And since these are such large pieces, we're going to have them on the top left and right as some visual bookends. I also created some character-specific ones for the battle droids, as well as one that's specifically for the Stap. It keeps that center of gravity right there in the middle of the hex stand, and then the battle droid kind of hangs off the back, and it works on the top shelf, so you don't have to have the battle droid conflicting with any other figures, and it gives you room to display that Stap on your normal display. I was only 10 years old when The Phantom Menace came out. I saw it 4 times in theaters, and I still remember the feeling of seeing TC-14, seeing something familiar yet so new, just kind of really set the tone for what was in store for seeing a brand new Star Wars movie. And since Hasbro doesn't do any vac metal or anything this shiny, I went ahead and got the Elite Series TC-14, which is technically 7-inch scale. I resin printed the cups and the tray, but one of the reasons I did the alternating height on the hex stands was to kind of disguise the differences in scales between SH Figuarts Black Series and stuff like the Elite Series here. For instance, here is the SH Figuarts Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is just slightly smaller than a lot of the Black Series figures. I took the Ben Kenobi robes and arms from the Figuarts and switched them out here to give his appearance with the cloak. This is what I think Black Series could do here. This robe is a little bit thick, but there's definitely softer plastics out there that I think would make for great flexibility. But anyway, here on the hex stands, we're gonna put him here, and again, that height just gets distorted just enough that you don't really notice the difference in scale. I love when the Black Series does more niche characters like Aurra Sing here. I really thought they would release a Clone Wars repaint of this by now, but I do love the orange Phantom Menace look. It's just so iconic and specific to that movie. I remember seeing her and just wondering what was going to happen with her character. Little did I know it would take years later for the animated series to fill in those gaps. I am more hopeful than ever that we will get Captain Panay Tanaka in the Black series, but until then I have this custom that I worked on with Blue D for the head sculpt and the glowing ghost, as well as Frederick Figures, who did the paint job. I think an official Black series release would look great next to the new Padme on the shelf, and this character just has so many cool action scenes. I think it makes total sense as a figure release. I love the colors on him, so that's kind of what I'm going with. We're placing him here, and I just also want him sort of near Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, since he's in a lot of those Naboo scenes with them. Wait a second, are those soft goods on Landspeeder Luke's shelf? Yes, this is the SH Figuarts poncho. I did something here where I used some black tack underneath to kind of sculpt it, if you will, getting a lot of those creases in there with a little bit of movement to it. So there's no wires, I just did all of that with some black tack. I don't know if this is going to be my permanent Qui-Gon on the shelf. I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks because it does have that kind of sculpted plastic look to it. This head sculpt here is from Nuno, and it is painted by him as well. And then the hologram accessory is from the new SH Figuarts release that also comes with this poncho. I don't hate the way this looks. Am I turning a new page in 2025? I guess we will have to wait and see. But Qui-Gon is going right here in the middle, since we've got this really cool vertical slice of all these really significant characters going right up the middle. Putting together these displays is one of my favorite parts of collecting. You know that feeling when you get the final member of a squad and you can have all of them on your shelf together. So that's kind of what making these videos feels like, and I'm just so happy that all of you have come along for the ride over the last 2 years. I'm gonna show you one last time what my Phantom Menace shelf series looked like in my very first YouTube video, and you can see how far we've come since then. One day I would love to have a permanent display where I can have each film or TV series represented with its own shelf, but until then I'm not too mad about what I have going on in my display closet. Don't forget, I have an in-depth collection tour showing every one of these shelves up on my channel. I'm curious in the comments below if you guys have the same nostalgic to the Phantom Menace as I do. I think it really depends on how old you were when that movie came out. I was the same age as little Annie, so I had someone to relate to and just really pulled me into the Star Wars series, which makes me so excited for what Skeleton Crew is doing, and I hope to see it create a whole new generation of Star Wars fans. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do videos like this all the time, as well as brand new Black Series figure reviews, such as the ones that you see on your screen right now. Go ahead and check those out. Thank you all for watching as always, and I will see you all next time.